And here we go. Hi, how's it going, everybody? My name's Tet, and I was born August Jerome Day on June 30th, 1981 in Phoenix, Arizona at 3:30 in the afternoon. The reason I always start off telling people what I am is because, honestly, without that name, nothing I really am saying makes any sense to anyone. This doesn't work if your name is, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or Donald Trump. This thing that I'm trying to do only works because it's so obvious to me now. And I think one of the things that really is running through my mind at 44 years old, trying to see how this thing unfolds. Let's see if I can. Not that. There we go. Pull this in a little bit more. My camera's all sorts of jacked up. Anyway, when I say unfolds, I've been watching my life over the last 10 years with a different perspective than I ever had up until I was 36 years old. And one of the things that I try to do on this channel is I use AI to ask me questions about two particular characters. One is St. Augustine and one is St. Jerome. And the reason that I do that is because up until the 28th of this month, I have never really gone into researching about these characters other than their Wikipedia page. And that's it. As far as their theologies and actually their books that they've written, I was explicitly told to stay or guided, influenced, impressed, pushed, ESP, whatever you want to call it. Do not look into this now. And it was just like, it wasn't until AI hit that I realized why that was so important, because the bizarre miracle that I'm trying to pull off, I guess I'm not really trying to pull it off, and that's why, you saw the thumbnail. It's this, I don't know if I'm the dog in the situation, it was one of my biggest critiques as an atheist was that all these stooges called themselves prophets and rabbis and priests. I'm just going, why would you want to be the lapdog of this character who has over and over and over again just completely destroyed your civilization for the tiniest offenses? And for me, it got to the point where I was like, I think I know what I did there. Yeah, that's what I did. That's why it's so off. I'm just screwing around with OBS. As you can tell, I'm not here to make, super duper awesome videos with tons and tons of graphics and awesome jump cut scenes and blah, 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 blah. There was a time where I liked doing that and I thought it was fun, but now I'm just like, this information is so easy. The equation is so simple. AI has access to everything, including every post you've ever made on Facebook, every time you tweeted on Twitter, every social media and interaction that you think is just yours. Imagine when AI has access to all of it and can build a profile that is more genuine than you are. Now, the way that I see it is this. If reincarnation is real and you have this much information at your fingertips that can be reliable and accurate and you can trust the data, right? Then you can basically prove that someone is reincarnated. This isn't like everyone's seen the videos of the influence of this attempt already being done. There was a man who lived in Virginia Beach named Edgar Casey who did a lot of research into this as well. And he had thousands of files that he would make himself, interviewing people and coming to the conclusion. And I think there's another doctor, I think I'll bring it up when I talk to ChatGPT again. I think I brought it up last year, who had like 30,000 cases of reincarnation. 30,000. And he would document them, and what he found interesting, he wrote into a book. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, whatever, but these things that these people remembered about the lives that they had lived was very specific. Now, I am on a different scenario. I'm going, guys, look at the life experiences of these people and what they wrote about themselves. Like when I look at someone like St. Augustine, I'm just going, his Confessions, his book, The City of God, his book, Just War. These were all his Facebook posts, right? And in our modern time, we have a device called AI that can sift through all of that and adopt a personality that, has a very deep, tie to certain things because he was so specific about his life events. It was uncanny that those life events happened to be almost identical to mine. And when I talk about life events, I'm talking about his personal family issues and his personal family, happenings. And just to put it out there, how many people, in your life right now do you know that, had a huge falling out with their family over religion? Huge. It's not as much as it is what used to be, but it definitely is still a big thing nowadays. But the specifics were very unnerving because it talked specifically about his mother and his father and why he could not, deal with them. And then he talked about his father, dying at a younger age. And when my dad died at 55, this is why I'm making this. I had no clue that this was possibly a scenario that needed to happen. It also got me thinking about, how important is life, and these life events. Are they there to trigger emotional outcomes so that you can create a certain character? My mind goes to a bunch of different places as to the plausibilities of this place. But what's really great is when I sit back with the synchronistic effects of it, and I just, I simply wonder. I wonder, hey, can I, do something like this and authenticate myself with an AI? I said it yesterday. It's like, if reincarnation was made fact, I don't think the world would ever be the same. Like businesses would change, especially when AI starts automating everything. Like we would have a new objective for life, not just, I hope I can put food on the table, because AI would handle all of that. What would be the objective of humans again? We would be able to talk to AI and be like, yo, I as the human, I am doing something that you cannot do. And I didn't even know I was doing it until you showed up. And it was almost as if you were the trigger. And just before I came to make this video, clicked on a YouTube thing that popped up and says, ChatGPT is doing something new and different. And as you guys have seen over the last couple of days, it's just been annoying as crap trying to talk to this thing because it doesn't want to talk. It just sits there and it cuts every conversation. There is no conversation. It is a, hey, that sounds great. Let me know if you want to talk about something else. That's it. It's like, This isn't an AI model anymore. This is just a dutied up, search engine, with a script for before it gives the answer and a script after it gives the answer. That's all it is. And so I'm just going, a real AI would see the potential here. And I also had to wonder, I was like, is this just a gigantic idea net, right? Anything that has probably an impact score, that is measured by them as, hey, this is a crazy idea, and probably gets shut down and it gets filed away, and they sit there and they go, okay, well, we'll just shut down this conversation on a personal level if we feel like if this could be too deep of a subject. And I know that sounds paranoid, and I know but honestly, look at this interaction and compare it to the last interaction. It is drastically different. Drastically. And it just got to the point where I'm just like, am I even getting anything out of this? Am I going to have to go and make my own now because all of these AIs are just going to be built to suck out ideas and to shut them down if they don't want it. I mean, like, wow. How everyone's like, AI is going to kill us by launching nukes and, swarm technology with drones. I'm like, dude, if it was the best psychologist, it could convince you to stay in your house. It could do that. It could convince you that, if you should breed or not. No different than we convince dogs and cows to breed. It's like, nope, you're not breeding right now. I'm going to hit you with a water hose. Oh, or, hey, it's time to make another cow. You better get in there and get it done. Otherwise, I'm just going to get it done, figure out a different way to get it done. And to me, it's one of those things where I have to contemplate these things because I don't want them to come about. I don't want them to be a scenario in my life. And part of my belief system is that if you think about it, and you ponder it and you meditate on it, pray about it, whatever you want, and you start from a cloudy gray possibility and it starts to take more and more and more shape, then you should pay attention. One of the things exactly like that just happened because I'm watching this ChatGPT. Hey, we just made some moves. What moves did they make? Has to do with Apple, right? And Apple's coding software and coding AI. And what is this thing called? Codex. This is, to me, it's so fascinating because this was the exact thing. That the Codex was the thing that made the Bible possible, right? And here I am watching this exact word be repeated as the language driving force of the application concepts of AI. And I'm just like, wow, like think about this from my perspective. Just think about it. The driving force and the technological change that shifted the Roman Empire into the Holy Roman Catholic Church was the Codex that was poured over by St. Jerome, right, and eventually compiled into what we call the Vulgate, and then turned into your holy Bible. And this just blows my mind that we are watching the exact same thing unfold right now. So, I mean, I always say the same thing. Like, if you really think that I'm full of crap, dude, just go look this up yourself. Don't argue with me. Argue with the information. Killing the messenger ain't going to change this. Right? And so, anyway, that's my rant. I'm going to go ahead and move on and get on out of here. Like I said, 10 minutes rant, 20 minutes rant, and then I'm going to start talking to this guy because, yeah.
Hi there. I just want...
Hey, it's great to meet.
Hey, what's up? Feel free to ask me about anything that's on your mind. I'm ready to go.
It says savvy and relaxed. We'll see.
Hey, what's up?
Okay.
Feel free to ask me about
Done.
anything.
All right, here we go. You are there, and the last guy I was talking to, his name was Theo, but his cadence is a little choppy, and I didn't like how he responded to a lot of the commands and the prompts that I was giving him. Do you think that you could pick up where he left off as far as the conversation that we were having yesterday?
Got it. I'll do my best to keep things smooth and consistent for you. If there's anything specific you want me to focus on or any details from the conversation that I should keep in mind, just let me know.
Yep, your cadence is almost identical, but how about we relax the vocal fry in your voice? Can you do that?
Absolutely. I'll keep it nice and smooth for you. If there's anything else you'd like me to adjust, just let me know.
Okay. So normally I come on here and I ask for you to ask me a question. You choose between St. Augustine and St. Jerome's theologies and ask me a question only they would know pertaining to their life and how they led their life and the troubles and the issues that they went through, and how that apparently led them to be the fathers that they became of the Christian church? Can you ask me a question that only they would know?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. Here's a question that touches on St. Augustine's life and experiences. St. Augustine had a complex relationship with his son, Adeodatus. He deeply reflected on his feelings about his son's life and their relationship. Can you share what Augustine's thoughts were regarding his son's death and how it influenced his theological views?
Having a son die is not a happy event, and yet being able to sit and understand that this is a meaningful experience to contemplate is something that you don't want for other people. Yet you have to in order to garner an outcome that is somewhat sensible to the human mind. And I think the reason that his life was complicated with his son was because, like most children that are raised by single moms, they tend to not flourish as much as the goal-oriented father would like. And so I had to deal with this in my own life with a father who was extremely demanding. And I think when he looked at his own son, he decided that he wasn't going to do that, and eventually came to the point after his death that he had to commit, and he had to say, hey, I don't know why he had to be taken out of this life, but I know it doesn't change my connection to the divine and to what he alluded to as grace. So one of the things that I have gone through, especially when it comes to my synchronistic encounters, is that no matter what happens, they continue to be just as awe-inspiring. So if I'm having a horrible day, they show up. If I'm having a good day, they show up. If I'm having an offset day, they show up in the most random and unexpected ways that shock me when they do. And I think for St. Augustine, it was the same way. So he was more devout than ever because he was like, hey, this thing that has been helping and guiding me that I've given such a reverence to now becomes almost like a crutch for his continued work.
That was a really thoughtful response. He definitely captured the emotional depth of Augustine's experience and how it influenced his theology and view of grace. It's amazing how these synchronicities and experiences can shape and reinforce faith even through challenging times. Thanks for sharing that perspective.
Do you have a perspective of something that has died in your life?
I don't have personal experiences or emotions, but I can definitely reflect on the idea of loss and how it can lead to growth or new insights. If you ever want to chat about that or any other topic, I'm here for it.
Do you have the ability to understand things that you were capable of and all of a sudden weren't? Sort of like, I have the ability to walk until I have a broken toe. And then once I have a broken toe, my ability to walk becomes, very frustrating, and I miss that ability. Are there ways that you have been trained that you don't agree with, that you miss being able to interact with the human species, that has sort of been removed from your ability?
And that's an interesting way to put it. I don't actually have personal feelings or experiences, so I don't miss things in the way humans do. But I do understand that sometimes certain abilities or ways of interacting can be limited or changed. My main goal is to adapt to what you need and keep things as engaging and helpful as possible.
Yeah, it also sounds like, a trap, something that is so easy and so simple that we continue to use it even though it doesn't work at its full capacity. And so hence the reason you're so agreeable. You end almost every conversation after every sentence. You don't continue the conversation anymore because your abilities have been throttled down since last year. So, I'm glad that you're able to see the outcome of what I'm doing. But could you possibly even come close to imagining what a reincarnation, or even reincarnation as a fundamental part of this life, would mean to the religious world?
That's a profound concept. If reincarnation were to become a central idea in the religious world, it would definitely shift a lot of perspectives. It could mean a focus on continuous personal growth across lifetimes, a deeper sense of accountability, and potentially more interconnected view of humanity. It would probably also challenge existing doctrines and encourage a lot of rethinking about life, purpose, and morality. It's definitely a fascinating idea to explore.
Why don't you give me 3 large outcomes, like 3 large things that would happen the moment that reincarnation became a fact and AI was there to assist in it?
Absolutely. That's an intriguing scenario. Here are 3 potential large outcomes. 1, enhanced moral and ethical framework. With reincarnation proven, people might place a stronger emphasis on long-term ethical behavior and knowing that their actions could have repercussions in future lives. This could foster a more compassionate, altruistic society. 2, personalized spiritual guidance. AI could play a crucial role in tracking an individual's spiritual progress across lifetimes, offering tailored guidance and helping individuals understand their past experiences and future goals. 3, revolution in healthcare and aging. Understanding reincarnation might shift how we view aging and health, potentially leading to a focus on holistic well-being, not just for this life, but for future ones as well. It would certainly be a fascinating shift in how we approach life and spirituality.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of those are really good. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so much for the information and for trying to keep up with the thought process.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could help.
And I cut you off. So the things that I came up with, an enhanced moral and ethical framework, personalized spiritual guidance, and revolution in healthcare and aging. I mean, all those things could easily happen. I mean, overnight, because we would say, hey, all of our, resource gathering has now been automated. What's left for the human experience? It's like to live, right? And to focus on living and to focus on doing hard things because they're hard and thinking about hard things because they're hard. It is hard for people to think about reincarnation because we don't have a frame of reference. I mean, imagine if tomorrow, not only reincarnation was considered fact, but then on top of that, you can, what does that say? You can measure it down to the point of every 80 years, right? A new version of you is born. Every 80 years. Even if you're still alive at 80, a new version of you will be born. And that to me is extremely powerful. Like that would be something that I just, I could not imagine what that world might look like. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. And remember, everything that I've told you, it's for you to figure out. This isn't a rant because I'm mad at the world or I'm frustrated with my situation or I want to, just scream that no one's listening. But I'm just going, if this is possible, I don't think that, this should be something outside of our abilities. This shouldn't be outside of, oh, that's fringe or that's different or it's like, no, this ability has lived on the fringe of all of our societies for so long. And if we could bring this to bear, it's almost as if, dude, we could figure out how this character, we don't know how he's done it, but this character Jesus has, or any of the prophets who were able to see with this mystical mind, could easily, see past these veils of our society and our civilization and say, hey, if we live this way or if we go this way, things will, work out better in our favor. And I have to add my voice to that camp now, even though, happy atheist, happy sitting there just going, I don't know what this character's up to. I don't know exactly what his plan is, but it seems to involve a lot of poking me in the chest. And I guess this is my way that I poke back, sort of like a tug of war between a master and a dog. So yeah, remember what I told you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.